presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Houston.
Wandy Rodriguez pitched a gem last night against the Brew Crew, going 8 innings, striking out 6 and not allowing a run. Jason Bourgeois gets the start in left and comes through big for the home team with 3 hits, 2 steals, scores a run, and drives in the game winner in the bottom of the 9th. More Astros and Brewers next on Fox Sports Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's the finale of this 6-game homestand, the deciding game of this Astros-Milwaukee Brewers series. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. The Astros won a thriller last night, 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th, J.D.
Oh boy, indeed they did. It was a 1-2 punch, outstanding pitching by Wandy Rodriguez, and the offense provided what little there was by Jason Bourgeois. What a night he had, getting a spot start out in left field, and Jason had 3 hits on the game, stole a couple of bases, ultimately drove in the game when you see him work around his bases, and that's what he brings to the table. This Astro club does not have a lot of team speed, so it's nice when you can plug him into the lineup, and especially when Bourne's in there, so they give him a real nice 1-2 punch at the top of the order in terms of speed. But big night for Jason Bourgeois. Nice to see he's back in there today.
And on the mound today, as the Astros and Brewers say farewell for this series, it's Bud Norris, who pitched very well as usual against the St. Louis Cardinals. He opposes lefty Chris Narveson right after this. You by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. Fans coming into Minute Maid Park for the finale of this homestand. The Astros are 2-3 on the homestand, snapping a 3-game losing streak and getting things rolling last night. They have a shot at winning this series now from the Brewers after losing 2 of 3 in Milwaukee last weekend. So they are 2-3 this season against the Brewers. Youngsters took the positions along with the Astros players for the opening ceremonies, and we're just about set to get going. The umpires are fanning out to their bases. The starting lineup for Ron Renicke's Brewers is brought to you by Xfinity. It's Ricky Weeks leading off at second. Carlos Gomez follows in center field with Ryan Braun in left field. Prince Fielder at first base. Casey McGee at third. Mark Kotze gets the call in right field today. The shortstop is Unieski Betancourt. Jonathan Lucroy is the catcher, and Chris Narveson will do the pitching.
And for the Astros this afternoon, it's right-hander Bud Norris. Take a look at his last 3 starts, and pretty good numbers. 1-0 for those 3 ball games with a $1.50 ERA. Strikeout ratio very good. Last time out it was the St. Louis Cardinals. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 3 runs. None of those were earned, however. It's been 6 innings exactly in 4 of Bud's last 5 starts. Offensively, it looks like this. Carlos leads in left. Jason Bourgeois gets a start in center. Michael Bourne has the day off, at least not starting. We may see him later on. Pence in right. Downs, Sanchez, Hall, and Wallace. Quintero behind the plate.
Astros 6-9 at Minute Maid Park this season. They will leave for a week-long road trip after the game today. They'll be headed to Cincinnati, where they'll open a 3-game series tomorrow night with lefty Jay Happ opposing right-hander Mike Leake. Brett Wallace is back in the starting lineup. He pinch hit and drew a walk last night. Then when he got to second base, the skipper took him out for a pinch runner, Bill Hall, who came around and scored the winning run on the Jason Bourgeois hit. Big night for Bourge, a 3-hit game, his best as a major leaguer. And now he finds himself in center after playing left last night. So Brad Mills riding a hot hand in Jason Bourgeois, and with the lefty on the mound, Narveson. He gets percentages in his favor in the outfield.
Chris Johnson gets an afternoon off. Matt Downs gets a start at third base this afternoon. This is his 4th start at third.
Brad Mills club, after a 3-3 road trip, would love to finish the homestand with that same record and get after it against the Reds and then the Pirates on this upcoming road trip starting after this game. Ricky Weeks gets it going. 304, 6 homers, 10 runs batted in. He has 2 hits in this series. Fastball comes in after him and he fouls it away. Strike 1 on Weeks.
Hey, happy May, everybody.
Happy May.
Today is May the 1. May Day, May Day.
Hopefully we won't hear that call on the way up to Cincinnati. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Weeks.
What are the Brewers going to see from Bud Norris? Well, they're going to see a guy who can get that fastball up to 94, 95 miles an hour. Good power slider and an improving changeup that he has been working on. There's that power heater at 92, but he's got more than that. Last time against the Cardinals, 3 runs, none earned, 7 hits, couple of walks, and 110 pitches for 6 innings of work. Strikeout rate remains among the best in the league.
He now has the lowest career ERA against the Cardinals of anybody by virtue of that start last time out. 1.97 of any active pitcher anyway. And he's done well against the teams in the NL Central. 10-5 lifetime, a 3.22 earned run average. Ooh, he gets a strikeout on Weeks. Got the slider down.
Yeah, we talk a lot about starting pitchers being vulnerable early in the ballgame until they find their rhythm and things of that nature, but not so much the case with Bud. He usually comes out of the bullpen with his A game. He comes out throwing hard, and because his stuff is so good, he doesn't have to be quite as precise. He's not a finesse guy that has to hit spots. He can overpower you in the strike zone, so he can be a little bit off with his command and still shut you down.
Carlos Gomez looks at strike 1 on the outer edge. 240, 2 homers, 10 runs batted in, 1 hit in this series for Gomez. Corner infielders creep in because he often bunts. It's 0-2. Gomez last night made a base running mistake. In the 8th inning, he was thrown out at third for the final out in that frame with Brewers down 1-0 at the time. That was a big out in the game for the Astros, with Ryan Braun due to come up next. Another strikeout, and Bud Norris has a couple of Ks to open the game.
Hey, that's how last night's game started. With Wandy out there, got Weeks and Gomez to start the ball game. This could be a harbinger of things to come, Browning.
It really could. It's a new month. We're turning the page. We'll see what happens.
Let me see. Braun doubled last night.
Okay.
So if he doubles, then we really got a story.
367, 10 homers to lead the majors, 23 runs batted in, and 4 for 8 in this series. Here's ball one. Well, he hasn't doubled very much, 3 times this year, but twice in that one game last night. He had 2 base hits. He's just been racking up the home runs. And he has had a very solid month of April. Should get a lot of votes in Player of the Month balloting. Our votes both went to Lance Berkman, didn't they?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. 2 balls, no strikes to Braun, who has a .724 slugging percentage.
I voted for Lance for Player of the Month, and I voted for Josh Johnson for Pitcher of the Month.
I did also. Braun 5 for 12 against Norris. And Braun looks at it for a 2-1 count with Fielder on deck. The Brewers are 6th in the league in runs scored. The Astros have just 1 run scored fewer than Milwaukee. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Brewers have played 1 fewer game than the Astros. Norris with 32 strikeouts and 28 innings coming into this game, has that high strikeout ratio JD talked about per innings pitched.
Yeah, he doesn't buy into that pitch to contact stuff. He's a swing and miss guy.
Now full count to Ryan Braun. He's walked 16 times. Braun has a gaudy 457 on base average, so 45.7% of the time he's been at the plate, he has been on base. That is fabulous. Upstairs, ball 4. He draws the 2-out walk. The fielder coming up. Braun and Joey Votto are the only players to reach base safely in every game. That's all 27 for him now. And he's aboard for Fielder. Fielder at .333 with 6 homers has driven in 26. And he hit the long ball last night in the 9th inning to tie the game 1-1, connecting off Brandon Lyon. It is quite a 1-2 punch, which has set a club record for runs batted in for Milwaukee in the month of April. Braun and Fielder. Snap throw to first. Braun is back. On ball 1 to Fielder.
If you had 15 pitches in the 1Q tries to pick a base runner off pool, you are the winner. 15 pitches, the winner today.
Braun draws the throw. Braun runs the bases well. Speedy runner.
Yeah, he's capable of stealing a bag or scoring on a double from first base, and that's what you're worried about with a guy like Fielder up there. Yanks one into the corner, bangs one into the alley. Braun capable of coming around to score.
Fielder looks at it. It's a strike. Adrian Johnson is the home plate umpire. The count is 1-1 on Prince. Prince 7 for 19 against the Astros this season. Jim Joyce, Ron Kulpa, and Darryl Cousins join Johnson on this umpiring crew.
Prince just 1 out of 10 in his career off Bud Norris with 4 punch-outs.
Fouls that one back, and it's a 1-ball 2-strike count to Fielder.
Pretty good at getting that slider or cutter in on the hands of a left-handed hitter.
Fielder hit a 3-1 fastball from Brandon Lyon for his homer last night. And he also homered the night before off Brett Myers. That was a tape measure shot to the second deck out in right center field. He has been right on a lot of pitches this season. He had only driven in 19 runs by the end of May last year. He has more than that already. Bud Norris strikes out the side. He puts up the first 0. Now Chris Narveson heads for the hill. Hosted by Bud Norris. Now the Astros come up with this Brad Mills starting lineup, brought to you by Xfinity. Jason Bourgeois, center field. Angel Sanchez returning to play shortstop with a day off for Clint Barmas. Hunter Pence right field. Carlos Lee left. Brett Wallace first. Bill Hall second. Matt Downs third. Humberto Quintero catch. Bud Norris pitch.
Chris Narveson pitch for the Brewers. The big lefty. Good changeup.
Strike one to Jason Bourgeois. Had that magnificent game last night. 3 hits, a couple of steals, facing a lefty with a 1-1 record.
Last time out did not go well for him. He was battling a little bit of a head cold and allowed 7 runs and 2 1/3. Prior to that, had been throwing the ball quite well.
He sure was. He came out of the gate like gangbusters. 13 scoreless innings to start the season in his first couple of starts. But he's facing a .344 hitter. Feeler right there to grab it on a low liner for out number 1.
It's a heartbreaker. It would have been a double, maybe triple with Bourgeois' speed. Big Prince able to track it down. Here's the outfield. It's Braun, Gomez, and Kotze. Left, center, right. Infield of McGee. Betancourt, Weeks, and the aforementioned Princely one. Jonathan Lucroy is the hind catcher.
Angel Sanchez on a 7-game hitting streak. Played second base last night. There's ball 1. 301 for Angel. 1 homer. He's driven in 15. And he had been the shortstop for the first 25 games until Clint Barmas came back from his injury. Now back at that position with Barmas having played 4 consecutive days on a minor league rehab assignment and then a couple days with the Astros. So 6 straight days. Brad Mills thought, okay, let's give him a break today. And it's 2 balls and a strike to Sanchez. Angel had a 10-game hitting streak last year. This is his longest streak since then, and he's 11 for 30 in the last 7.
Yeah, good, a day to give Clint a day off. Keep Sanchez in the mix. He's been swinging the bat well. But a power pitcher who gets a lot of strikeouts and fly ball outs, doesn't get a lot of ground ball outs. So you don't, Barman's such a good defender. You like to have him in there if you've got a ground ball pitcher on the mound.
That's past the third baseman. Here's a looping throw from Betancourt, and he got him. Very good play by Yuniesky Betancourt from deep in the hole.
Yeah, take a look at it. Betancourt showing good range to the backhand side, but the throw most impressive. Falling one way, able to get enough on that throw, coming back the other way. Angel does not run well at all. He runs hard. It's not like he's dogging it. He's just not a fast guy.
One hop throw to fielder gets out number 2 for Narveson.
By that much.
Just barely beat him. Hunter Pence comes up. And there's ball 1. You saw the way fielder caught that ball in pretty close to his body because it bounced. 294 for Hunter, 4 homers, 21 runs batted in. That gave Angel a little bit more of an opportunity to get there, but the throw was on target and a little bit low from the shortstop, and he had a really quick release on that. 2 balls, no strikes. And that's the whole idea. If you're throwing from where he was, give your first baseman a chance to make a play.
That ball gets intercepted a lot, though. When you throw back across the field, when you're flushed out of the pocket, moving to your right like that, it's a dangerous pass.
It really is.
But he was skillful.
2 balls and a strike. Hunter's on a 5-game hitting streak. Down ball third, McGee. Narveson goes 1-2-3, and it's no score after 1.
Cheese Night presented by HEB on Saturday, May 14th. Now, the special offer includes a game ticket and admission to the 1 p.m. wine and cheese event, including wine tasting and more. Visit Astros.com/wine for tickets.
I thought you meant like wine, like you're whining about something in cheese.
That would be against the Brewers.
Oh, that's a fit. We go to the 2nd inning, and it's Casey McGee leading it off. Gets underneath it, fouls it back into the crowd. There is strike 1 for Bud Norris on a 278 hitter with 2 homers, 13 driven in. McGee 2 for 8 in this series.
He's baffled these right-handed hitters with that slider so far.
Sure has.
Here in the early going. That's the thing about Bud. He tends not to be efficient because he gets a lot of swings and misses and a lot of foul balls. The ball does not get put into play early against him very often.
1-2.
Normally runs a pretty high pitch count. The way to combat it would be in situations like this when he's got the hitter in a defensive count to be a little bit more aggressive. Not necessarily go for the strikeout. Just throw a good low fastball. Try to get the ball put in play. Or could just throw him a slider and strike him out.
It's a meal ticket for him. He has 4 strikeouts so far.
He's on a pace to strike out 27, which would be a record at any level.
McGee out in front there, swinging over the top. Now it's Mark Kotsay.
The anniversary of Roger Clemens' first 20 strikeout game just passed the other day.
Kotze is late on the heater. There's strike one to Mark, a .265 hitter with no homers, 5 runs batted in. He had a couple of good games at Milwaukee against the Astros last weekend, going 5 for 9 with 2 runs batted in when Corey Hart was on the disabled list. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Kotze's made 14 starts in right field, including this one, getting the early season action because of injuries. 2-1. We were hearing before the game today that Ron Renicky, the skipper for the Brewers, in his session with the media before the game, said that Niger Morgan will return on Tuesday for the Brewers from his injury. Fouled away, so they'll have another left-handed hitter with speed to play the outfield for the Brewers come Tuesday. Renicky's club 13-13, 2.5 games behind the front-running St. Louis Cardinals.
Ron right now carrying only 4 guys on his bench. Most teams have 5 bench players. And Brewers with an extra pitcher, just 4 position players on the bench. Hart, Nieves, Boggs, and Counsell this afternoon.
Kotze takes it, and he works the count full. Wandy Rodriguez threw 114 pitches last night, shutting out the Brewers for 8 innings. He threw 126 in his previous start. Rolled up the middle off the mound. Sanchez to his left. And the release takes it on over to Brad Wallace for out number 2.
So he can't strike out 27, but 26 isn't bad.
No.
I'd say player of the game so far for the Brewers, putting the ball in play.
Yuniesky Betancourt with 1 homer, 10 runs batted in, carries a .261 batting average. 1 for 6 with a homer in this series. And he fouls it, strike 1.
Well, fans may remember Ron Renicky from his playing days with the Dodgers, San Diego, a little bit with the Phillies back in the 80s.
He was a coach with the Angels for a decade with Mike Scioscia. No balls, 2 strikes. Some of that time third base coach, some of that time bench coach for Renicky, now getting his first shot as a big league manager.
And like Scioscia, started in the Dodger organization in his coaching career, as he did as a player. He broke in with the Dodgers in '81. Mostly a part-time player in his career. Those guys have bounced up and down between the big leagues and AAA.
And often we find that managers who were part-time players have that really good feel for dealing with their bench players because that's the position they were in. Talking to Ryan Braun. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. The Astros have not had a win by a starting pitcher since April 19th at New York. Starters are 4-12 with a 5.07 ERA for the season. But of course, they've been in position for several wins, but have had some blown saves by the bullpen since then. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. This has got to be the year of the blown save, doesn't it? With all the bullpen problems we've seen in the first month.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to look at the numbers and compare April of 2011 to previous seasons.
Another good slider. Betancourt whiffs. That's 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings for Bud Norris. No score. Carlos Lee lines one to right field and opens the bottom of the second with a sharp single. Carlos at 194 with 2 homers, 15 runs batted in. Attacked that first pitch from Narveson. Our leaders of the game is brought to you by United, proud to fly the Houston Astros. Brett Wallace in April hit .388, third highest among Astros all time in April, behind Derek Bell's .398 in '98 and Billy Hatcher's .391 in '87.
Hatch, I believe, went on to hit .290 something that year, and Derek .316. So both guys fell off a little bit, but it's nice to, Baggy mentioned last night, nice to have that cushion that when you get off to a start like this. Hard to sustain it. If you do, you're Rod Carew. Ted Williams, somebody like that. Those are the guys that hit .380. George Brett.
9-game hitting streak for Wallace right now. He drew a pinch walk last night. It's 0-2. He's hit .571 during that 9-game hitting streak. He's been on base 6 straight plate appearances now. And he has 6 consecutive multi-hit games when in the starting lineup.
Fox Tracks brought to you by Steel.
That's going to be a diving play, but it gets away from Betancourt, and a hit for Wallace. And a 10-game hitting streak as he takes it the other way. And the defensive positioning did not work. So he hit it between third and shortstop.
Yeah, Betancourt's playing the normal shortstop position. That's an easy play, but they're playing full on the infield. Wallace able to take advantage of it. I get the feeling Wally's in one of those grooves where he just looks out there and says, okay, I got room over there. I'll just hit it over there.
Yeah, it's truly Wally's world right now. Bill Hall at 217 with a homer has driven in 8. Former Brewer 2 for 12 on this homestand. He scored the game winner last night. He went into pinch run for Wallace at second. All back at second base for this game today. Sanchez played there last night. But Brad Mills has been mixing it up, giving the bench guys some playing time in this series. That's a foul tip, and it's strike 1 to Hall. JD mentioned that Narveson had 2 outstanding starts to open the season. The last one, though, as he said, Narveson wasn't feeling good. It didn't go well. 2 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 7 runs, and a loss to Cincinnati.
He's allowed 13 runs this year, and I think all of them have come in 3 innings. He's fallen victim to the big inning. Certainly that was the case last time out.
Matt Downs is on deck. Rip to the left field corner. Carlos Lee's coming home. Ryan Braun's throw goes to third. Wallace stopping at second. 1-0 Houston. Hall gets his 9th run batted in.
Well, no sooner had he hit that ball than Narveson looked into his catcher LaCroix, very emphatic with the body language, not happy with, I don't know if it was the pitch selection or where LaCroix set up. I'm guessing the latter, because if you didn't like the selection, don't throw the pitch. You see LaCroix's outside. Watch if you see Narveson. Tough to tell from that shot, but he was not happy. And immediately got together with LaCroix and said, hey, we need to come in on him. Something to that effect.
It is 1-0, and now the makings of a big inning have started, and Matt Downs will try to keep it going. That's ball 1. Downs at 276 has a homer. He's driven in 6.
And too early to get too worked up, but the way Bud's going along, he might not need a whole lot today. He's on top of his game.
Downs is making start number 6 of the year. It's his 4th start at third base. Chris Johnson getting a break. This liner will go foul. Brad Mills was asked about CJ not being in the lineup today, and he said, well, he is getting a little frustrated, so he'll take a breath today. Humberto Quintero's on deck. Wallace and Hall, the base runners, as Downs backs away.
Yes. Kind of a balancing act a manager has to play, especially with young players. You want to get them as many at-bats and help them develop and progress. But if they're struggling, you keep running them out there, you could bury them.
Strike to Downs makes it 1-2. Downs had a good spring, hit .292. Earned a spot on the opening day roster. Mike Barnett's club with a .267 team batting average in April. Had a lot of key hits. 7th in the league in total bases right now. Pretty good showing considering some of the players are far below their normal production standards. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It could seemingly always be better, but nonetheless it could be far worse for the Astros offensively than what they have done with 117 runs scored, which ranks 8th in the league.
Yeah, given where they finished last year and what the expectations were coming in for this year, they have to be pretty pleased where they're at.
Well, they've hit .295 with runners in scoring position as a team. That ranks 2nd in the National League. 3-2 pitch coming to Downs from Narveson. And he hits it to center. Gomez backing on it. Wallace will tag, and he's going to go. And here's the throw into second. That'll keep Hall from advancing. And that's the right throw for Gomez to make. On a long drive by Downs, it's out number 1. Wallace finds his way to third.
They just appealed and called him out.
Ooh. Now Brad Mills is coming on the Ron Culpa call that Wallace left second base too soon.
Saying he never came back and tagged it. He went back, and Culpa's saying he didn't get to the base.
Let's check.
Well, it's definitely on the bag.
Okay.
Well, he may have left a split second early.
Yeah.
But to me, that's picking at nits, especially when there wasn't even a play made on him. If you make that throw to third base and you just miss getting him, you could argue, well, he left a hair early. And boy, I don't know about that.
Well, it looked like he left a little bit too soon. So now runner at first, and Quintero's the batter. Double play from 8-4. Line drive to right. Quintero drops one in. Advancing Hall.
Kotsay wanted to throw to first base.
Yeah, he did. That's the 4th hit of the inning. Now Bud Norris. I think part of that call by Culpa might have been Wallace was rushing to get back to second base. So there's a lot to anticipate there. It looked like he might be late getting back. So definitely the umpire was very closely watching that.
But it looked like he was motioning to Mills, like the way he put his hands out was like he said he missed. It was like he's trying to argue that he missed the base, which obviously isn't accurate.
No, definitely did not miss the base, as you saw. There's strike 1. Norris is 2 for 7. He's driven in 2 runs. He has a double. Astros pitchers are hitting .306 as a group.
He must have really good eyesight if you can see the center fielder catch the ball out there and know exactly when he left the base. And here,
well, that's a good point. I wonder if we have a replay on his positioning, because if he's looking from the inside of the base, he can see.
To me, that's a call you can only make if it is blatant. Well, I shouldn't say you can make it. You make any call you want.
Yeah. He did leave too soon.
I don't know. To me, it was.
No.
Well, I thought it was awfully close.
It was close.
And I don't know if I can't. In the replay we saw, I couldn't tell conclusively that he left too soon. And
I thought he did.
Given that there was no play made on him.
Still no balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, you're right though. That umpire has to line up his vision with the base runner and the center fielder in this case See that exact moment when the catch is made and where his foot is at that time. We have all these electronic aids. Norris is down on strikes. The Astros settle for 1 run on 4 hits. They leave 2, and it's 1-0 Houston.
Day after Jim Maloney of the Reds had no-hit the Astros. That fact in Norton can be garnered from nationalpastime.com. Some other things that happened that day on May 1st. Nolan Ryan's 7th no-hitter. Ricky Henderson got his 939th stolen base for the record, and that was in '91. Trevor Hoffman in 2002, his 321st save. But it may be even the biggest, Babe Ruth's first home run as a Yankee. It was his 50th career homer in 1920.
Thanks,
way to go, Bambino.
And Don Wilson was very, very agitated when he took the mound that day because Jim Maloney had just pitched a no-hitter the night before, and the Reds were rubbing it into the Astros. Here's that replay.
So watch the body and the foot. The foot stays on the bag. And as that ball's entering his glove, it looked to me like his foot was still on the base. I mean, it was that close. And I just think, boy, as an umpire, it's got to be more obvious than that to make that call, given the fact that there was no play on the base runner.
Strike 1 to Jonathan Lucroy, a .333 hitter with 1 homer, 5 runs batted in. Pitcher spot comes up next. Lucroy has very good offensive numbers with that batting average and with a .400 on base average for the season. That's looped out into right center field, and Hall watches it drop for a hit in front of Hunter Pence. First hit for Milwaukee comes from Lucroy.
That'll put Narveson up here in a bunting situation.
Narveson has 1 sacrifice and 1 hit in 10 at bats. Downs is in tight at third base. Wallace takes the throw as Lucroy's lead is medium. But base runner cannot stray too far with Norris on the mound because Bud gets the throw over to first quickly. He's going to want to try to get to second as quickly as he can on a bunt, but that's a ball.
Yeah, it's pretty good situation here for the Astros in defending this bunt, and that Norris is a tough guy to bunt because he throws so hard. You can envision Narveson having a hard time softening this ball. But so quick with that move, LaCroix can't get too big of a lead.
One is a good one.
It's a dandy.
Norris barehanded, took a look at second, settled for the sacrifice 1-4 out at first.
So despite those staggering odds against him, he got the sacrifice down.
Yeah, he sure did. That's a little bunting pressure, if you will, but he got the man over, and now it's Ricky Weeks. Weeks struck out in the first inning.
Quick visit from Q to go over the signs, man on second base, make sure they're on the same page, what they're using as an indicator. Okay, let's go with the first sign after a 2. Something like that.
Okay.
Well, if that's the case, it's fastball in. That wasn't the case. Slider away. that's kind of what at least that's what we used to use. First sign after 2, or third sign, and then some guys get real. Depending on the count, whether you're ahead, behind, or even in the count, it will change.
Right.
What sign you use, what inning you're in, you can get very complicated with it. But sometimes that just messes everybody up. You see from time to time, you see a catcher get crossed up, and that's the fear if you get too complicated with your signage.
And Roger Clemens was very complicated with his. Foul away.
He's lucky he had Osmus back there.
No balls, 2 strikes. Detroit 2, Cleveland 2. They've played 5 in Cleveland, where the Indians were 18-8 at the end of April. That's a club record for them, 4 wins in the month of April, but they played more games than they usually do that month. Season started earlier this year. Still, surprising start for the Tribe.
Yeah, and how about the Twins and the White Sox, both 9 games out, 1 month into the season.
Ooh. That's an interesting little factoid. It's an upside down cake AL Central. Weeks is down on strikes for the second time. That's 6 strikeouts already for Norris.
Well, that's the second time he's gotten Weeks with that slider, and that's been the primary weapon for him, but it has not been the only weapon. You see, there's the first at bat from Weeks. Gomez flailing at the slider. Good change up there to get Fielder. Slider to get Betancourt. Got swings and misses with the high heater. And here's Weeks one more time. They're just mesmerized by that slide ball.
Carlos Gomez chases one, and there's strike 1 to Gomez, who struck out in the first inning. It'll be very interesting to see how the Brewers play it with Gomez in center field. Extremely fast, very talented. Near the top of center fielders as a defender. But he makes some aggravating mistakes.
Yeah, huge one last night.
Sure did.
A little overly aggressive on the bases. Sometimes same with his outfield play, making throws he probably shouldn't make.
He would not seem to be ideally suited to batting second in the lineup. No balls, 2 strikes. With that type of approach. Bud Norris out of the gate very well. That sharp slider.
We had 14 last year against the Pirates, didn't he? One game, 14 strikeouts.
I believe so.
He might blow by that today if this keeps up.
Sure could. 1-2. Yankees lead Toronto 5-2. They're in the bottom of the 5th at Yankee Stadium. Curtis Granderson hit his 8th. Mark Teixeira his 7th. Upstairs for ball 2 with Braun on deck.
Well, he's got 2 ways he can go here. He may be convinced that Gomez just can't hit his slider with the swings he's been taking at it. Or he may be thinking Gomez is just absolutely looking for that slider away, and I can throw one in on his knuckles and break his back. And then with plan A.
Plan A works for strikeout number 7. No runs, a hit, a man stranded. Bud Norris powerful for the first 3 with a 1-0 lead.
Trivia question. Kids, settle down out there. It's time for the trivia question. What Brewer led the team in batting average, runs, hits, homers, RBIs, and stolen bases in the first year of the Milwaukee Brewers after they moved from Seattle? Who was it?
First year, 1970.
Tommy Harper.
That was going to be my guess.
And if I had a bell, I would ring it because you are right. We'll give you more details on that when we give you the answer, but it was Tommy Harper.
Jason Bourgeois pushes a bunt, foul.
Yeah, because he hit that line drive, and Prince robbed him last time. Says, "Okay, big fella, I'm going to make you run."
There's a trivia answer. Tommy Harper. He was actually our bonus trivia question from Phil Boudreau on 2 days ago because he had 30 homers and 38 stolen bases, 31 homers and 38 stolen bases. The first American leaguer to do that. 296 average and 82 RBIs.
1 ball, 1 strike to Boog.
I'm guessing he got the club MVP award. Pretty good. Like a chance, eh?
Ball to right, Mark Kotze in. Yeah, you'd have to guess that happened. That's out number 1 for Narveson. Bourgeois 0 for 2, and it's Angel Sanchez coming up next. With that line drive from Boog to open the Astros first, and then Sanchez hit the grounder to the left side. Betancourt had a good play. Narveson was able to get started on a 1-2-3 inning, but then the Astros put together 4 singles in the second against him. And he got the big call at second base. Wallace leaving too soon on the fly ball to Gomez. There's ball 1. Matt Cain and the Giants are playing at Washington against Jordan Zimmerman and the Nationals. And it's 2-2 in the 4th. 2 balls, no strikes. Pablo Sandoval got hurt. He's going to miss several weeks.
You break a bone?
I think he did. Yeah. Broke a bone in his hand. 2 balls and a strike.
Kung Fu Panda. It got off to a good start. I hadn't looked at his numbers lately, but I knew he started very well.
He sure did. They have struggled. Fly ball to right field. Kotze moving in for this one. 2 outs for Narveson. Narveson began his career in the Cardinal organization. 2nd round pick in 2000. Traded to the Rockies in the Larry Walker deal in 04. And he moved along to Boston, St. Louis again. Milwaukee got him as a free agent after the 07 season. Last year he was 12-9 for the Brewers with a 4.99 ERA. Hunter Pence hit the grounder to third in the first inning. Strike 1 to Hunter. Hunter back in his familiar number 3 spot in the lineup today after hitting 4th last night. Fouls that one away, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night in Cincinnati, it's Jay Happ and Mike Leake. Tuesday night, it's Anuri Rodriguez and Sam LeCure. Wednesday, a day game, Brett Myers and Travis Wood. 1-2.
So the Astros miss Arroyo. He's going today. Miss Volquez.
To right field, Kotze waiting for this.
Kind of major league record.
Yeah, he made all 3 putouts, and it's 1-0 Astros.
28th. You can join the Astros for the first Faith and Family Night of 2011. The Astros host the Diamondbacks at 6:05, and after the game, fans can enjoy a free post-game concert with contemporary Christian artist Jeremy Camp. Tickets start at only $7, so visit Astros.com today. That's Saturday, May 28th.
Ryan Braun leads it off. 1-0 Astros. The fourth inning begins with Braun, who drew a 2-out walk in the first inning. One of the very toughest outs in Major League Baseball right now. Foul pop. Quintero over. Wallace Johnson's putting up a stop sign for those guys. Strike one.
Looks like Braun may have moved off the plate just a little bit for this at bat.
Okay. He rolls it out to shortstop. Sanchez takes care of that grounder. 1 out. Now Prince Fielder will come up. He struck out looking in the first. Astros enter the month of May with plenty of room for improvement in ERA. 5.06, the worst in the National League. Fastball there for strike one. It's out into left center field. Carlos Lee cutting over, and he gets there on the run. 2 outs.
Maybe more importantly, 2 quick outs. After all the strikeouts, Bud's thrown a lot of pitches, but 2 quick outs here against Braun and Fielder. And this ball headed for the gap, but Caballo able to trot on over and cut it off.
Casey McGee struck out swinging in the second inning. Norris got strikeouts for his first 4 outs and 5 of the first 6. And he did strike out 14 Pirates in that game here last year. McGee looks at ball 1. Boston leads Seattle 2-0 after 5 at Fenway. Tim Wakefield's on the mound.
King Felix for Seattle. Ooh. Mariners looking to sweep that series in Boston.
Red Sox are 11-15. In last place, 5 behind the Yankees right now. Wakefield has not been starting. In the air, and Brett Wallace looks out. Hunter Pence comes in. In the fourth inning, it's only 7 pitches for Bud Norris, and he's retired 6 in a row now. He's allowed only a single through the first 4.
5 Heisman trophies. Yeah, Oklahoma football. And by the way, big special tonight. The Oklahoma Spring Football Preview tonight at 10 p.m. on Fox Sports Houston. You'll have some of your questions answered, like, is Landry Jones ready for his junior season at quarterback? And more. 10 p.m. tonight on Fox Sports Houston.
Charlie Kerfell will be watching. There's strike one to Carlos Lee. Singled his first time up. And he now is 11 hits away from 2,000 in his career. Charlie won the Brain Trust for the Philadelphia Phillies. Stopping by to conduct some business and see some baseball for a couple of days. Popped up on the left side of the infield. McGee underneath. That's one out for Narveson.
There's Charlie that was here quite often early last year. Watching many of Roy Oswald's starts.
That's true. We were kidding with him about that trade. We saw Roy pitch the final game before the trade was made last July, and he was kidding. He said, well, I just came here to make sure he walked off the field healthy. Brett Wallace extended his hitting streak to 10 games with that hit in the second inning. To the right of a diving Unieski Betancourt. Ball one from Narveson, who is starting for the 4th time in his career against the Astros. He had a start against Bud Norris in 09 at Milwaukee and gave up 1 run in 5 innings. And the only decision he had was in a 5-0 loss last May in Milwaukee to Roy Oswald.
Two completely different pitchers here. Bud, the right-handed power guy. Narveson, a lefty finesse pitcher. A little bit of a hesitation in his delivery that probably adds some deception.
Wallace fouls it, and it's 1-2 to Brett. Brett has just concluded a wildly successful month of April with the 4th best batting average in the majors. Also 4th in on base. That's strike 3 for Narveson. His 2nd strikeout. Now Bill Hall will follow.
Breaking ball, it just hangs on to the inside corner.
Hall got the RBI single to left field in the second inning. The Astros got their 2nd walk-off win of the season last night. Bill Hall provided the first earlier on this homestand against the Cardinals. Ball one. That was their 4th win in their final at bat. The Brewers have lost 6 times in their opponent's final at bat.
Similar to the Cardinals story.
That's true. We've had a lot of hotly contested games in the division. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros 5-9 against the teams in the NL Central. The Brewers are 8-8 against those clubs. They go to Atlanta next. They're on a 10-game road trip, and the final leg will be in St. Louis. Narveson misses, and the count goes to 2-1.
Atlanta in jeopardy of being swept by the Cardinals. Cardinals have a 4-3 lead in that one through 5.
Jaime Garcia starting today for St. Louis. Bill Hall works the count to 3 balls, 1 strike. Three and 2 now. Matt Downs is on deck. Alex Gonzalez of the Braves hit his 4th home run off Garcia. Derek Lowe is getting the call today against Garcia. Cardinals are 16-11. Flared foul, And the Astros go up against the tough Cincinnati Reds in their next series. Joey Votto and company. That'll be their second trip already to that city.
Just about everybody in the division playing .500 ball over the last 10 days. The Cardinals being the exception at 8-2. Cincinnati, Milwaukee kind of been hovering up and down, a game above or below .500.
Narveson dialed it up. Fell behind 3-1. Came back to strike out Hall. Keeps the score 1-0 Houston through 4.
The 5th. Chevy is proud to support youth baseball leagues in your local community. And if you'd like to learn more about Chevy youth baseball programs, it's very simple. Go to the simple email address, or I should say web address, youthsportswired, all one word, .com.
1-0 ball game. Bud Norris has retired 6 in a row after the only hit for the Brewers. That was a Jonathan Lucroy leadoff single in the 3rd. Norris struck out 7 in the first 4. Threw only 7 pitches in the 4th inning. Now Mark Kotsay takes strike 1. Kotsay grounded a shortstop earlier. Norris has thrown 11 of 15 first pitch strikes. Bunted, foul. No balls, 2 strikes to Kotsay. Tampa Bay leads 5-2 over Anaheim. Tampa Bay has regrouped and is now 15-12. They're in the 5th inning. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. The Rays started the year 0-6. They're the first team to finish April with a winning record after opening the season with a 6-game losing streak. Tap foul. Still a 1-ball, 2-strike count to Kotsay. The Astros in the month of May have a couple of series with Cincinnati. The Reds will be here when the Astros get back home on May 9th through the 11th. The dirt, and it's 2-2.
See Bud shaking up Q off quite a bit here this afternoon, and that tells me he's a guy who out there has a game plan, trusts his stuff, knows what he wants to do with it. I like to see it. So many times a pitcher will just cede the responsibility of game calling to the catcher. Just, whatever the catcher puts down, he throws it. But today Bud repeatedly shaking Q. Nothing wrong with that.
3-2. No walks for Bud Norris today. Kotsay pokes it foul.
That's an emergency hack right there, boy. He didn't want to get fooled by that changeup. He stayed back as long as possible, and then just a flick of the wrist to foul that fastball off.
A good veteran hitter's approach. Kotsay, a first-round pick of Florida in '96. Went to Cal State Fullerton. And he got him on strikes. 8 strikeouts for Bud Norris. Powerful start to a game. New season high for Bud.
Yeah, had that very efficient 4th inning, got 3 outs on just 7 pitches. Back to the strikeout pitch now. This is not his best slider this afternoon, but it certainly worked.
Unieski Betancourt punched out earlier. Ooh, very tardy on that one. Strike 1. The Astros as a team have a strikeout high of 10 in a game this year. Bunted foul.
So Kotsay tried to bunt with the strike. Now Betancourt with the strike. Clearly these guys having a hard time with Bud's stuff. Trying to do anything they can to create a little traffic out there. A good Sunday hat.
Absolutely. He's making a very strong statement. Little top tap to Matt Downs left. He turns and makes the accurate throw. He's got a strong arm. 2 outs. Downs a good guy to have available to fill in at those various infield positions. And he swings the bat with some authority. Now Jonathan Lucroy, 65 pitches in. Bud Norris has been attacking hitters. He's got a lot going for him today. Lucroy with the only hit, a single to right center field in the 3rd. That was a looping hit. That's ball 1. Wandy Rodriguez has the Astros strikeout high in a single game this year. That was at Milwaukee. Last weekend, he struck out 9. It's 2-0. Two balls and a strike for Bud Norris, shooting for win number 2 of the season. His ERA has been coming down. It was at 3.86 when this game started. Foul back. Bud's had 3 quality starts in a row. In his first start of the year, gave up 5 runs in 4 innings at Philadelphia. And his best one was a 1-0 win here over San Diego. 6 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. Foul back. Bud's 26 years old. Last year he was 9-10. His ERA was 4.92. So this is a season in which he starts the year in the rotation and has a chance to settle in and find out what he can really do. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Maybe overthrowing a little bit the last 2 pitches. That previous slider got away from him, and now the high fastball.
Brad Arnsberg, the pitching coach, has watched a lot of good pitches in this game.
Finish this guy right here and have the pitcher to lead off the next inning.
Foul ball. Lucroy mad at himself.
Well, because he offered that ball 4 there, got a piece of it to stay alive, but the ball would have been out of the zone, and that would have gotten Narvis into the plate. I'm pretty confident in that slider down and away, even though it's off the plate. He's gotten so many swings and misses at it this afternoon. Feels comfortable going back out there.
He didn't give him the slider. He gave him the fastball over the edge and struck him out looking. That's 9 Ks for Bud Norris and a 1-0 lead.
Astros as we head to the bottom of the fifth. Time for the progressive fan of the game. In that last inning, Bill Hall's at bat. He fouled one right behind home plate, back up over the protective screen. Struck a young fan, just grazed him. Just grazed him, right?
Hit him right in the chest.
Hit him right in the chest. Like I say, hit him right in the chest. What is your name?
David Kerwin.
And he's okay. Are you okay?
Yes.
What's your name?
Chance.
Chance. How you doing? Did that hurt?
Sort of.
Sort of. And yet, he stayed in his seat, didn't shed a tear. He's got you see the ball. He's got a souvenir that's going to last him a lifetime right here. And the bruise will go away pretty soon. And he's going to have a progressive bag of stuff for being our fan of the game, buddy. Nice job. Guys, back to you.
All right.
Way to go, Chance.
Yeah. Nice gift for Chance.
What'd you get?
Dig deep down in there.
It's Halloween.
You bet. Matt Downs at the plate. There's a strike from Narveson. Bring the count to 2 balls, 1 strike. There's one of the T-shirts in there. See what else they might have. Keep an eye on them as they dig down deep. Foul ball makes the count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Downs hit the deep drive to center field, caught by Gomez, and then Wallace was doubled off second for leaving too early. Quintero and Norris to follow him. The Astros have out hit the Brewers 4-1. All the hits in the game have been singles. In Downs' career, he's 1 for 11 against Milwaukee pitching. That one hit was a homer.
And Narveson certainly not as dominant as Bud today with the swings and misses, but still very effective, changing speeds and moving the ball around the zone.
And now he breaks a curveball in for strike 3 call. That's the 4th strikeout for Narveson.
So, you know, if they keep their pitchers healthy, 5-man rotation of Greinke, Gallardo, Markham, Wolf, and Narveson, that's pretty solid stuff.
It really is. Somebody was commenting last night, well, they might want to split up their lefties. Wolf and Narveson right now are back-to-back in the rotation. And there's a strike. Quintero hit a single to right field, and then the word was today that Zach Greinke shaved his head in the Milwaukee clubhouse.
Okay, good.
Kind of a buzz cut.
Good.
So he's getting serious about returning to the rotation next week or this week. Betancourt throws on the run. Good play. 2 outs. Now it'll be Bud Norris. 9 straight have been retired by Narveson since the Quintero single in the second. Norris struck out in that inning.
Interesting if somebody ever did a study about the effect of having left-handers back-to-back in a rotation, because you hear that a lot, break them up, and I see no real reason why that matters. I think it's one of those things that managers contemplate doing because they've heard people talk about it forever. I mean, you're either left-handed or right-handed. Nobody ever talks about, well, we need to break up these right-handers in our rotation.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, the only rationale I could come up with is if you're talking about part-time players that play only against lefties. So a guy would get at bats one night and then get at bats again the next. So maybe he would still feel better playing back-to-back days.
Strikeout number 5 for Narveson. He's up for a duel today, and through 5, it's 1-0 Astros. Houston is brought to you by AT&T. By Jack in the Box. Get anything on the menu any time of day. And by Gullo, treating you like family. Roof is closed. Nice warm breezy day outside. Final game of the homestand. Pitching duel, 1-0 Astros after 5. This is in line with last night's game. The Astros won that one 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th inning. They led 1-0 until the top of the 9th. They got the run in the first in that one. Now Bud Norris, much like Wandy Rodriguez, having to deal with the slim lead, and he's retired 9 in a row.
It has been a dominant performance from Norris to this point, allowing just the 1 hit with the 9 strikeouts. After Narveson, the lineup turns over, and he'll have to deal with the top for the 3rd time, and becomes a very important part of the ball game. First things first, get Narveson here, and that certainly would help.
Narveson put down a sac bunt in the 3rd inning. Good career batting average for Narveson. There's a play by Wallace and a toss to Norris. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 6th inning.
One of the better swings they've had all afternoon right
really
there.
Is. Yeah, he's a 265 career hitter. Ricky Weeks struck out both times.
You're doing the slow stroll to the plate, trying to buy some time for Narveson.
Quintero goes out to the mound. That'll buy him some more time.
I'll take Weeks off the hook and go ahead and first pitch hack if he wants.
Why do you suppose he'd go to the mound now?
Well, it may be that because Weeks is getting their 3rd look at him and they want to talk about how they want to go after him. And he may be saying, look, just because the pitcher made it out on 1 pitch, don't assume he's taking here and groove a fastball. He may be turning it loose.
Norris is looking over at Brett Wallace for positioning on Weeks.
Normally, your leadoff guy would take a pitch after the pitcher goes up there and makes it out on 1 pitch, and it looked like Weeks was taking all the way there. But Weeks is a different cat. He's got power. So you can't assume he's going to take a pitch.
Norris tweaked his groin a little bit in his last start. But in his bullpen session leading up to this one, he said everything is fine. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kansas City 3, Minnesota 1. They played 5 in Kansas City. Coach Havers going for the Royals, and Jeff Francoeur hit his 6th home run. Carl Pavano's pitching for the Twins. Bouncer, shortstop Sanchez cuts across, throws, and gets it. 2 outs. .76 pitches for Norris. Carlos Gomez is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. Seattle got 2 in the 6th to tie at Boston 2-2.
Gomez has been absolutely overpowered by Norris's slider so far today. Just like that. Bud throws one after another. Gomez swings as hard as he can and comes up empty.
It's 1-1. Gomez, 25 years old, from the Dominican Republic. He came up in the Mets system. Was traded to Minnesota in the Johan Santana deal, and then Milwaukee got him in the J.J. Hardy trade. Norris takes care of that inning with 7 pitches, just as he did in the 4th. He's retired 12 in a row, 1-0 Houston. Astros got a run in the second inning with 4 singles in that frame. Bill Hall got the RBI single, scoring Carlos Lee, who had led off that frame. We're checking out the shorts on this Sunday. A lot of guys wearing shorts, different patterned shorts today. Jason Bourgeois is 0 for 2. He lined to first and flied to right. Strike one to Jason. Chris Narveson allowed all 4 of those hits in 1 inning. And other than that, he's got a no-hitter going. 1 ball, 1 strike as he opens the 6th. That's in the dirt, and it's 2-1. Randy Wolf, who started last night for Milwaukee, pitched his usual outstanding game. His last 5 starts against the Astros, he has a 1.30 ERA. Now Bourgeois to right field for a hit. Kotze over to hold him to a single, and Jason that time found a landing zone for his line drive. Earlier he lined out to fielder. Hit number 5 for the Astros gets a speedy runner on to lead off the inning. He is 7 for 8 in stolen bases. Last night he stole 2nd and 3rd, and then scored a run in the first inning. Angel Sanchez has grounded to short, flied to right. The fielder has been playing the runners off the bag in this series. Plays a step or 2 away from first base. Bourgeois is not quite as fast as Michael Bourne, but he has a knack for stealing bases. There's strike one to Sanchez. Talking with Gene Coleman today, who really studies those things and knows all the Astros base runners' times from home to first and things of that nature. Said what's striking about Jason is that first step or 2, he's up to top speed. Just really accelerates with the best of them. And he draws a throw.
And Narveson's been pretty good over the years at shutting down the running game.
Both these teams have run against each other. The Astros are 7 for 7 in steals against Milwaukee. Brewers are 7 for 8 in steals against Houston. The bunt is fouled. It's 0-2 to Sanchez.
And not squaring early as if to sacrifice, thinking about trying to push a bunt for a base hit. With the idea being that even if they do get him, at least he could push Jason along to second.
A game like this, that could be vital. Hunter Pence on deck. 1-2. Now, last night, Brad Mills went with his speed lineup with Michael Bourne leading off, Bourgeois second. Sanchez hit 3rd for the first time. And they were able to put that speed to use. And a 2-1 win.
And that's the fear with Sanchez not being a speedy guy. You're always fearful of a double play in this situation if he puts the ball in play on the ground.
Yeah, sometimes making contact really well can be a detriment. Strike 3. 1 out, and it's Hunter Pence. 6 strikeouts for Narveson.
Yeah, Narveson kind of late to the strikeout party, but he's enjoying the party. 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. 1 more here in the 6th with a backdoor breaking ball. Late to the party, but he's eating all the cake.
Very good numbers for Narveson facing Hunter Pence, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly ball to right.
I suspect with a right-hander on the mound, Bourgeois would have gone already. Tough to get the read on the big lefty.
He goes. Lucroy's throw not nearly in time. Bourgeois is 8 for 9 in steals.
He picked a good pitch. Narveson held the ball a good long while, trying to freeze him over there at first base, and then threw a changeup. There's that quick burst Gene Coleman talks about.
Jason was 12 for 16 last year. Now 23 of 28 in his career in base stealing. There's strike one. Got an email from Dr. Jim Johnson at HBU about sliding feet first compared to sliding head first, as Jason did. Jason's fast when he does it. He has the technique down. But there's always the injury factor to worry about, of course. Diving McGee. He doesn't have a play. Infield hit Hunter Pence. 2 men on, 1 out. That's a 6-game hitting streak for Pence. McGee keeps it on the infield.
Big play by McGee to keep Jason at second base. And then a smart play by not making the throw to first, realizing no chance he's going to get Pence. Why risk an error or a chance for Bourgeois to advance on the throw?
Now Carlos Lee bats. He's 1 for 2. Single to right. He scored the only run of the game. Then he popped to third. Weeks to the bag at second. Lee is taking, and it's ball 1 to Carlos.
How about that? Asking for time, didn't get it, but he got the borderline call.
Yeah.
He's just helpless up there asking for time, but didn't get it. And unfortunately for Carlos, the pitch was called a ball. Could have gone either way.
In the air, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brad Mills checked back to last year's stats. Said Carlos Lee had 5 runs batted in last year at the end of April. He has 15 now. Big situation for him right here in a 1-0 game. He has 3 hits in his last 26 at bats. Way up, and it's 2-1. Dr. Jim Johnson, who has studied kinesiology, says that the feet first slide is quicker. Usually the base runner slides closer to the bag when he goes in feet first, so he might have an extra 1 or 2 strides before he starts a slide than people who go in head first. Ooh, it's 2-2. That changes the perspective of this at bat quite a lot.
You see Carlos talking to Adrian Johnson saying, "Oh, thought the ball was up."
Wallace on deck. A 2-2 count for Lee. Deep drive to left field. Braun watches it sail for a 3-run homer for El Caballo. And the former Brewer rips number 3 of the season. The Astros lead it 4-0. His 15th career long ball against the Brewers, and what a big swing for the Astros, the way Norris is pitching.
Flip that calendar from April to May, and Carlos may be able to turn the page a little bit. Hanging breaking ball, but you still have to hit it.
That got him fired up. Now 10 hits away from 2,000 for his career. And here's Wallace. Wallace 1 for 2 today. Now a 4-0 lead, and the Astros have out hit the Brewers 7-1. It's 1-1. Lee now has 3 homers. He's driven in 18 runs this season. It's 2 balls and a strike. If he gets going, the Astros can really have some fun with this attack. Wallace fouls it away. It's 2-2. Tap to the right side. Fielder picks it up near the bag. 2 outs. Carlos also homered at Milwaukee last weekend. And now Bud Norris has a 4-run lead.
Perfect scenario for a starting pitcher. Get into a pitching duel into the middle innings, so you're having quick innings. You get back out there and you get in a rhythm, and then your offense puts a crooked number on the board, and you get that cushion heading into the late innings. Very comfortable feeling for Bud Norris right now, the way he's going with this 4-run lead.
Bill Hall's 1 for 2. Strike 1. So the former Brewer theme is playing large on the Astros this weekend. Bourgeois, Lee, Hall, all figuring into significant contributions. 1 ball, 1 strike. All 1,000. 1-2. Tigers just scored in the top of the 8th to grab a 3-2 lead at Cleveland. This will be the 25th pitch of the inning for Narvis. And he's at 90 for the game now. So El Caballo didn't like that strike 2 call, but he unleashed a swing on the 3-2 pitch. Downs is on deck. Straight back.
I'm not sure, maybe it's my imagination, but it looked to me like Jonathan LaCroix shook his head in frustration with Narveson because he ran through his signs, and he wanted a changeup, he wanted a curveball, he wanted a fastball away, and Narveson didn't want any of it. And LaCroix finally got to the fastball in, but I don't think he thought it was a good idea. He said, yeah, I'll call it. I'll throw it in there, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Those folks got the Lee home run ball out there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Carlos now has hit 334 long balls in his career. Driven in more than 1,200 runs. Now 3-2 to Hall.
He's going to throw a splitter.
And that'll do it as Hall strikes out. But the Astros get the 3-run bomb from Lee into the Landry's Crawford boxes. 4-0 Houston.
7th. You know, you can give Mom the gift of Astros baseball this Mother's Day because the Mother's Day 6-game flex plan presented by Lewis Jewelers allows Mom to choose 6 games she wants to attend this season, and each account receives a $50 gift card from Lewis Jewelers. Visit Astros.com today. Guys?
Thanks, Greg. That's a good idea. Mother's Day coming right up next weekend, so you might want to do your shopping come tomorrow. 4-0. The Astros lead it. Bud Norris has had an economy of pitches with a couple of 7-pitch innings. A total of 80 in this game. Ryan Braun faces him.
Yeah, well, that's nice to have 80 pitches heading into the 7th inning in a 9-strikeout performance.
Carlos Lee has just provided the Astros' first 3-run homer of the season. Fielder and McGee to follow. Upstairs hits a 1-ball 1-strike count. That was the first one Carlos has hit at home this year. He won at Philadelphia, won at Milwaukee. Nice to have the old 3-run homer when a guy is pitching the way Bud Norris is.
Yeah. 3-run home runs and a solid bullpen, right? Pretty sound approach to winning baseball. The Astros have really struggled in the power department this year. Is that about their 15th home run?
It is the 15th. Yeah. Last in the league. Of course, it's all about winning games. Last night they won 2-1. They hustled and they made the most of 6 hits. In some games you're required to bang away with the other club to win. Sergio Mitre's warming up for the Brewers. That's a strikeout, number 10. The new Astros high for this season.
Braun was the only Brewer who had not punched out yet today, so he joins the party. He's obviously thinking about that slider, and he knew it. So, we talked about Bud, and the key to as the lineup turned over and these hitters were going to see him for the 3rd time, he's had an answer.
Strike 1 from Fielder. They're feeling a breeze up on the terrace level right now.
Cutter moving under the hands.
Look out. Nice shot off Norris. It goes to 3rd. Barehanded. Downs. Wild throw. Wallace comes off. Norris was pointing toward Downs after that ball hit him. Now head athletic trainer Nathan Lucero's on his way.
Hit him in the back, maybe back of the shoulder. He's looking at the arm. He initially said he's fine, but sometimes you got to wait a little while because there's a lot of adrenaline going on when this happens. You get this ball hit right back at your coconut. There's a whole lot of adrenaline coursing through your body. So take a little time to relax, draw some deep breaths, and then see how it feels. Back of the arm up around the shoulder blade.
Okay. Well, at least it didn't catch bone. It didn't appear to anyway. He's acting like he's going to shrug this off. It's the 2nd time in Bud's career he has reached double digits in strikeouts in a game. And he's staying in. It's only hit number 2 he's allowed.
And you're posting this kind of a line, you don't want to come out of the ball game.
Casey McGee is struck out and fly to right. Fielder hit a smash.
He's trying to take out our team. He ran into Wallace at first base the other day. Now he hits Bud.
There's strike 1 to McGee.
Slider still sliding.
88 pitches for Bud Norris. He's due up third in the bottom of the inning.
I think Prince and Brett are discussing that play from the other night.
It might be. Yes, it's still working. 0-2.
Another one. Starts it on the outside edge and good late movement. Hitters obviously looking for that pitch. They're just not recognizing it out of his hand. You have to be in tune to it. I talked to Jeff Bagwell last night. Baggy was on with us, and Baggy talks a lot about hitters. You're not necessarily guessing, but it's a percentage play. You play hunches, and certainly with all those sliders he's thrown today, the hitters are aware of it, and they just can't do anything with it. Baggy would tell them, don't swing at it. Can't hit it. Why swing?
Strikeout number 11. This is quite a show Bud Norris is putting on at Minute Maid Park today.
And just a real nice job of Bud and Q recognizing that a lot of these hitters have no clue on this slider, because normally you work out there and now you're going to come inside with a fastball, and I think they're thinking they're just not seeing this pitch and they keep flailing at it. Why change up?
Kotsay fouls at strike one. He's 0 for 2. Norris shooting for win number 2 of the season. Coming into this game, the batting average against Bud was .263. Well, that has dropped.
Faster than a peregrine falcon. You know that it could dive up to 200 miles an hour?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when you're hungry, you can do things like that. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. 23,908 to paid attendance on this Sunday, finale of the homestand.
Do we know how many rode their bikes? It was ride your bike to the park day.
Forgot about that. 1 and 2. No, did you see anybody doing that? Well, we were inside.
No, but there was an organized ride. They met, and then we're going to pedal here. I guess other folks were invited to ride their bike to the ballpark. All part of Clay Green Week here at Minute Maid Park. Fans are getting hungry. They want another K.
Fly ball to left, shallow. Sanchez cutting over. Lee sliding, and they collide on the ground. And Lee flips it, but he is hurting. He flipped it back into Downs. He now is going to need some help, as Sanchez has held his glove up for head athletic trainer Nate Lucero to come out. And Carlos really hurting after that collision. He went sliding into Sanchez on the looping single by Kotsay.
As that play developed, all I could think of was the Adam Everett broken leg. It had a very similar feel to it. He had a pretty good chance there was going to be a collision, because that ball was out there in between where both guys had a shot at it. But neither one guy, could clearly be in a position to call the other player off. Look, knee in the rib cage.
That's the way it looked. Yep.
And they're both going hard. Boom.
Oh. Yeah. It's going to be a pop fly double for Kotsay. Oh. We've had some collisions in this series. Right around where that numeral is. Right under his heart.
Yeah.
Assuming that rib cage area is where he got it. So this creates a delay for Bud Norris with a 4-0 lead. Bud's not throwing at the moment, just standing out there behind the mound.
Well, great effort by both Carlos and Angel. And that's not an easy play for either guy. And the ball wasn't high enough where you could find the other player, find the ball, and one guy call the other off. Both guys going as hard as possible. It takes a little courage, because there's going to be a collision, and
Yeah, and players slide to avoid a collision sometimes, but that time they were both sliding. Sometimes one guy goes over the top, another guy takes to the ground.
Yeah. Some organizations actually teach that.
Do they?
Yeah.
It's the first extra base hit, certainly not well hit, and they're going to want some assistance.
Going to get a cart.
Yeah. Assistant athletic trainer Rex Jones is running down the right field line to bring in that golf cart, and they'll put Carlos probably on gurney and lift him up on that cart, cart him out of here. They don't want him moving right now. How tough is that? He just ripped a 3-run homer a few minutes ago. Now he's going to be leaving the game.
Yeah, he's going through this slump and being booed after some of his recent at-bats, and then he has that one big moment, the first 3-run jack the Astros have hit all year. Maybe a turning point, who knows, and now he has to ride off in a cart.
Michael Bourne's coming out. He's warming up, so he'll go into play center field, it would appear, and Jason Bourgeois will slide over to play left. Carlos able to sit up.
Yeah, that's the other irony. In another inning, they probably would have made the move defensively anyway.
He doesn't miss many games. Carlos had 605 at bats last year, played 157 games. In 08, he had broken left pinky finger. He was on the disabled list in August. That's the only year looking back. That's the only year looking back as far as 02, when he had fewer than 500 at bats.
Yeah, Carlos has taken a lot of heat. He's making a lot of money, and the performance suffered certainly last year. But talk to Phil Garner, a guy who managed him, and Gar would say, you know what? We knew what we were getting with Carlos, a run producer who plays every single day. Because I knew what I was getting, and I was thrilled to put his name in the lineup every day.
So Michael Bourne comes in Lee's cleanup spot in the order, and he goes into center field as Carlos leaves. The Astros are traveling after the game today, but he may not be traveling with them from the looks of things. So it's Bourne in center field, and Jason Bourgeois moves from center field to left field. Now Bud Norris is warming up. He wanted to make sure Carlos was all right. He'll be given some time to get loose again at this very speedy outfield now. Pence, Bourne, and Bourgeois.
Tough inning, boy. Line drive off Bud, and then a blooper that creates the collision to force Carlos out of the ball game. And a chance of the base hit for the Brewers to get back in this game. So
that's right.
Very important that throughout all that delay, Bud maintain his concentration. Big pitch is coming.
Kotsay just picked up his second double of the year, so runners are at second and third with the score 4-0 Astros. 2 outs in the inning. Betancourt the batter. He's 0 for 2. There's ball one. Betancourt hit the home run Friday night for his only hit in this series, out around the ConocoPhillips pump. The slider's fouled away, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Astros bullpen remains quiet.
The Astros did not have a complete game this season. Bourne's in right center. It's 2-1 to Betancourt.
Betancourt from Cuba, defected in 2003.
This one heads for right field. Hunter Pence moving over to his left. And in the 7th inning for Milwaukee, it's no runs, 2 hits, 2 men stranded. Powerful game for Bud Norris. The fans have really gotten into this one. They're getting up now for the singing of God Bless America. This call to the bullpen is presented by Verizon Wireless with a score 4-0 Houston. Hey, Jeff Bagwell made it out today as a fan. And we enjoyed working with him again last night, as we do on the Saturday night home games. Sergio Mitre is the reliever. Matt Downs the hitter. Ground ball backhanded. McGee straightens up, throws low, and throws it away. Downs takes a left turn, hits for second base. And that's the way the Astros home 7 starts. And the first pitch from Mitre, Ron Renicky is called on his bullpen after Chris Narveson in 6 innings, about 7 hits, 4 runs, with no walks, 7 strikeouts.
Well, it's a big extra 90 feet they get on the air. McGee makes a nice play on the backhand side. Accurate throw would have gotten. That ball really jumped on that hop. Very difficult to corral that one if you're Prince Fielder. Go down as a base hit and a throwing error, I assume. Boy, tough chance for Prince to handle that one. Or straight E5, I guess.
Yep. 2-base error by McGee, his third.
And Brewers came into the series having made just 7 errors. Have been a little bit sloppy Opportunity to add a little more insurance.
They've made 4 errors in the series. Quintero is 1 for 2. Grounds that one foul, strike 1. Q single to right in the second, grounded to shortstop in the 5th. Well, that could really open the door for the Astros here. The 2-base error opening the inning to add to their 4-0 lead. Mitre's facing the Astros for the first time this year, 30 years old, from Los Angeles. Drafted by the Cubs, and he bounced around from team to team. The Brewers picked him up in a trade in spring training this year, March 25th, from the Yankees for outfielder Chris Dickerson.
The sinker slider guy, when on his game, will get a lot of ground balls.
Mitre 0-3 last season for New York in 27 games. Foul back. And at the time, of course, they didn't have Zach Greinke, so they wanted to bolster their pitching staff. And Mitre can start as well as relieve. He had Tommy John surgery in 2008. Good day for indoor baseball today as the Astros get set to go out on this road trip. And pitching has been a big part of this day until the 3-run homer by Carlos Lee. Fouled away, still 0-2 to Quintero. Talking a little bit about the defensive aspect on Astros Live pregame show too. You mentioned the Brewers with their 4 errors in this series. How important that is in supporting the pitching staff. It all plays into the team ERA and just runs allowed, plays not made, unearned runs allowed too. Quintero's down on strikes. 8 strikeouts for the Brewers pitchers today.
Betancourt, their shortstop's only made a couple of errors, but the people that break down the ultimate zone rating, they call it, or stats, there's these different groups that have all these different metrics measuring defense. And the last couple of years, he was rated the worst defensive shortstop in baseball. A little bit we've seen him, he's played pretty well.
Carlos Lee is going to Methodist Hospital for an X-ray on his left rib cage. Bud Norris has struck out both times today. There's strike 1.
Bud's thinking, I'm going to pitch a shutout and hit a home run today. Why not?
That wouldn't be surprising. Bud can hit. Chris Narveson threw 94 pitches, 63 were strikes. No balls, 2 strikes. Wandy Rodriguez lowered his ERA here at Minute Maid Park against Milwaukee to 0.89. His effort last night. One and 2 to Bud Norris. Jason Bourgeois on deck. Matt Downs reaching on the 2-base error by McGee to open the inning. The Astros have 7 hits to the Brewers 3. Throw was wide. Downs diving back in as Betancourt reached out for it. Swing and a miss, and Norris strikes out. That's number 2 for Mitre, and a 9 strikeout day for the Brewer pitchers. Now Bourgeois.
Third time Bud has gone down, but the important number there is the 3 at-bats.
Yeah.
The 3 ABs as a starting pitcher. You've stayed in the game and done your job for the most part. He's done more than that today. He's been outstanding.
Bourgeois singled to right, stole a base, and rode home on the 3-run homer by Carlos Lee in the 6th. He's 1 for 3.
I'll have to point that out to Bud when he gets on the charter. Man, I thought you could hit.
You're going to spoil it.
Just because you strike everybody out and pitch shutout baseball, you still got to get a knock or two, pal.
Not a complete game if you don't get a hit, huh? Well, check swing roller. Mitre will have to hurry. He throws low and throws it away. Down scores to make it 5-0. Bourgeois into second.
Brewers charged with 2 errors in this inning and adds up to at least 1 run for the Astros so far. Neither play easy for either the man making the throw or fielder on the other end. Here Mitre tries to rush a throw to get Bourgeois. Ball drifting in towards the base runner a little bit. Prince tries to pick it, kind of flails at it. With a little sinker running down and in.
Absolutely. That could have caused problems with fielder and the base runner. If he had really tried to extend and catch that throw. Angel Sanchez takes, and that's strike 1. He's 0 for 3. Bourgeois winds up at second. It's ruled a hit and an error on the pitcher Mitre. Allowing the batter to reach second. No RBI for Bourgeois. Bourgeois 2 for 4 today after going 3 for 5 last night. How about that for back-to-back spot starts?
And a little justice because he hit that line drive for an out to start the ball game. He gets a knock on the check swing grounder.
Ground ball, Betancourt throws out Sanchez. And the Astros pick up an unearned run. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 errors, and 1 left. After 7, it's 5-0 Houston. Wallace reaching over, an off balance catch. Good snag. His long arms extended, and the youngster gets a nice little souvenir.
Guessing he played a little wide out in the day, huh?
Looks like it.
He got extended on that. The quick reaction.
You bet. Bud Norris, leading 5-0, is about to throw his 100th pitch of the game. Jonathan Lucroy at the plate. Pitcher spot due up next. There's strike one with Craig Counsell on deck to pinch hit for Mitre. Lucroy singled to right in the third, and until the seventh inning, that was the only Milwaukee hit. It's 1-1. Zach Braddock, a lefty's warming up in the Milwaukee bullpen. It's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now to Jonathan Lucroy.
Well, after the delay last inning, Bud misfired up a couple of times with the slider, and so maybe just starting to show some indications of fatiguing. And that one a little flatter, but in the zone.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Lucroy. Brad Arnsberg watchful. Wandy said he didn't have anything more than the 8 innings he pitched last night, but he had thrown 126 pitches the previous start. 3 balls, 2 strikes now.
Sometimes it's fun to pitch at the end of a game when you got nothing left. If you feel your arm tingle, it's kind of just hanging down there off your shoulder. Just, can I get through this?
It'll be interesting to see with Bud's career, because he has been such a strikeout pitcher, if he changes at all along the way to throw more off-speed stuff, get deeper into games. That's ball 4, leadoff walk, puts Lucroy on. That's the first walk of the ball game, or the second walk of the ball game. Oh yeah, there's one back in the first inning on Braun. Now Craig Counsell's a pinch hitter for Mitre.
Yeah, but missing up the way he did there and kind of flying open, that's an indication that he may be fatigued and trying to force it a little bit. Got their attention in the dugout, and it's going to cause that phone to ring in the bullpen.
Counsell pinch hitting here for Mitre. It's a line drive up the right field line, headed for the corner. It's going foul. A looper for strike one. Not all that well hit. Jeff Fulcino's warming up for Houston.
The little guy knows the drill, holds it up for everybody to pay homage.
Counsell got in the game at shortstop last night. And the veteran takes a strike for an 0-2 count. Counsell got 2 hits and a start against the Astros last weekend with Brad Myers on the mound in Milwaukee. He's made 5 starts this year. Good handyman. He fouls that one. Last year he hit .333 in pinch hitting roles, going 13 for 39. He's the all-time Brewers franchise leader in pinch hits with 34, and also pinch hit at bats with 134. Sergio Mitre in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run, no earned runs, had no walks, struck out 2. To center field, Michael Bourne. 1 out. Ricky Weeks will follow. He's 0 for 3.
Lefty Braddock has been up a while now, and he'll be next.
Norris at 109 pitches just got a visit from his catcher Quintero, and now it's Weeks, 2 strikeouts and a ground ball. In Bud's last outing, he went 110 pitches Tuesday against St. Louis. Fly ball left. Bourgeois backing. And now comes in. 2 outs.
Obviously thought there was a little more juice on that one than there was, but no problem. Good, easy fly ball, no problem. But talking to himself, probably says, "Oh, I got away with one there."
Carlos Gomez 0 for 3. There's ball one.
It's been a soft day at the plate for Gomez. A couple of punch outs and a ground ball to the mound. Pop up to the catcher would finish it nicely. This has been the problem, the slider.
Not quite as sharp. 2 balls, no strikes.
They're definitely showing some signs of fatiguing here, which is not as crisp.
Brad Arnsberg has watched his right-hander throw first pitch strikes to 21 of 29 batters. Astros have won the last 3 starts by Bud Norris. Gomez moved back from the plate with ball 3.
You really got to rely on your legs. All the running you've done. Stay strong in that back leg.
3-1.
Situation calls for just pumping fastballs over the heart of the plate. Now you've got a 5-run lead, a couple outs. Don't want to walk people and set the Brewers up for a big inning with Braun and Fielder due next.
Gomez takes a walk. 2 men on now on walks. It's 3 for the game for Norris, and that's going to be it for him. Brad Mills on his way out. Norris at 115 pitches for the day. And it'll be Jeff Fulchino coming in. An 11 strikeout game for Bud Norris. Shutout baseball, a 5-0 lead in the 8th inning, and the crowd has loved the effort.
TV to see every Astros game live or on demand on your computer and other favorite devices. Visit Astros.com to order and get more details. MLB.TV, that's baseball everywhere.
Thank you, Greg. Bud Norris on the bench after 7 2/3 sparkling innings. 3 hits, no runs, walking 3, fanning 11. Fernando Abad warming up, the lefty. Meanwhile, it's Jeff Fulchino, the righty, taking over against Braun. Ryan Braun 0 for 2 with a walk.
Big situation here. Even though it's a comfortable lead, it can get uncomfortable in a hurry. With Ryan Braun in the batter's box and a couple men on base. So the book not closed on Bud yet. Fulcino worked an inning in Friday's game. No hits, no runs, a walk.
Tap foul. It's 0-2. Fulcino and Mark Melancon are tied for the lead in appearances in the National League and the majors, in fact. So with this one, Fulcino takes over that lead with 16. Fulcino had a hitless, scoreless inning Friday night. It's his fourth appearance on this 6-game homestand. That's foul, first base side.
Q wants to have a chat with him after that 0-2 pitch. Probably a little too good. Although you could make a case with a hitter like Braun, if you just nibble, you're just going to work him back into the count anyway. So maybe the time to attack is when you're ahead of him and put him in a situation where you're more likely to get a defensive swing. The better the hitter, the more aggressive I think you should be in pitchers' counts. The time to get defensive is when he's up there hitting 2-0, 3-1. That's when you got to try to trick him. You can attack him when you're ahead of him, play the percentages, and try to get him before he gets back into an even count situation.
Two balls, two strikes. John Dewan's stat of the week came out a couple days ago. And the question was, does it make sense to waste a pitch with an 0-2 count? And they had all kinds of stats, ran all kinds of numbers of what hitters have done on 0-2 counts.
They don't do much.
You're right. That one goes
So
foul.
what did he conclude?
A batter falling behind 0-2 knocks off .10 runs from the team's run expectancy, which is almost as bad as sending your pitcher up to bat with a nothing count. As it turns out, pitchers ahead 0-2 through the next pitch outside the strike zone 72% of the time. And the average change in run expectancy in those at bats remained exactly the same. But if the challenge is ever so slightly better, but very, very close. Doesn't make a whole lot of difference. But that's all hitters. You're talking about Ryan Braun.
Well, I'm talking about, I believe that on 0-2, depending on the hitter, a general rule of thumb on 0-2 is throw something off the plate, but maybe, you can get a guy to chase. But for a good hitter like Braun or Fielder, Pujols, some of the better hitters in the game, 0-2, 1-2, that's when you want to try to make your pitch, because what happens when you nibble, you get right back to where he is now. You get back to full.
Right. Now 3-2, 2 outs, runners going, and a foul ball.
Made a good quality pitch there, a 96-mile-an-hour fastball down around the knees. And there was no greater example than Bagwell when Jeff played. We'd see it time after time after time. Pitchers would get the jump on him 0-2, and then they'd start to nibble. The next thing you know, it's 3-2. And they'd either have to give in and he'd put a good swing on one, or he'd walk.
Fielder on deck with a bod warming up, and Melancon now. Michael Bourne calling for it in center, over into left center field. Fulcino gets Braun. It's no runs, no hits. 2 men stranded. Astros 5, Brewers nothing in the 8th. him to join the movement. Astros seeking their second shutout win of the season, lead at 5-0 over Milwaukee. Houston coming up in the bottom of the 8th inning. And lefty reliever Zach Braddock, 23 years old, from Mount Holly, New Jersey, comes in to do the pitching. He's 0-1. His ERA is 2.16.
Yeah, hard throwing left-hander. Just 23 years of age. And his career average is better than a strikeout per inning. Kind of a Billy Wagner-esque lefty. Career is the 10 games you saw this year and 46 last year for the Brewers, in which he fashioned a 2.94 ERA and 33 2/3 innings of work.
It'll be Pence, Bourne, and Wallace due up against him. That's why the lefty has been selected by Ron Ranicky. Two lefty hitters due up for the Astros in the inning. Hunter Pence is 1 for 3. Reached on an infield hit and scored on the Carlos Lee 3-run homer in the 6th inning. Strike one, and Braddock airs it out.
Pretty aggressive, a lot of fastballs. Also has a slider and the occasional curveball, but mostly plays the power game.
That's a foul ball out of play, and it snowballs 2 strikes. Braddock last pitched on Monday against Cincinnati. He went 2 scoreless innings and struck out 3 in that one. First time he's been on an opening day roster. Last year he started at AAA Nashville, but still got in 46 outings with Milwaukee, striking out 41 in 33 innings. But they don't care about that. Still 0-2 with Bourne on deck. It's 3-0 Athletics after 1 in Oakland with the Rangers in town. Angels lead Tampa Bay 6-5. They're in the bottom of the 8th in St. Petersburg. Hunter strikes out. 1 out in the 8th. Fielder McGee and Kotze are due up in the Milwaukee 9th.
And Braddock just coming after him with fastballs, really climbing the ladder there, shoulder high.
Braddock came in to face Brett Wallace in Milwaukee last weekend. Now looking at Michael Bourne, who's up for the first time in this game. And Michael smokes one out into right center field. Well, he's been facing a lot of lefty relievers in the early going this season. And that time he got aboard with a sharp single.
Well, felt pretty comfortable looking fastball, I'm guessing, with as many fastballs as Braddock throws. So found one to his liking. Good short, quick stroke. A 1 out knock.
Wallace was hit by a pitch last weekend in Milwaukee by Braddock. Brett is 1 for 3 in this game. Got to hit his first time up to extend his career high hitting streak to 10 games. Strike to Wallace. It's Baltimore 6, the White Sox 2. They've played 7 at U.S. Cellular. Luke Scott hit his 5th homer for the Orioles. Mark Reynolds added number 3. Fouled away, and it's 0-2.
You're talking earlier about the similarities between the Cardinals and the Brewers losing games in their final at bat. It happened today as well for
Really?
St. Louis. Braves scored in the bottom of the 9th to beat them 6-5. And Ryan Franklin hung with his 3rd loss.
Ooh. Cardinals had won the first 2 games of that series. Yeah, that's going to be a difficult situation with Franklin struggling so much. Lucroy stops it. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, when Tony La Russa brought Franklin in the series here to give him some work in a non-pressure situation, he gave up 2 hits to 2 batters. Wednesday night was tagged with 2 runs in that one.
And probably most telling was the fact that he faced 2 batters, gave up 2 hits, and was immediately taken out of the game. So the leash has gotten pretty short. One of those hits was a ball that Holiday lost in the lights in left field.
Oh, that's right. Sean Green's warming up for Milwaukee.
They have rain in Cincinnati today.
Haven't
This is
checked.
bottom of the second, so I'm guessing.
Okay. Must have had. It's in the forecast for tomorrow as well. There was a little interesting byplay with that rain delay game with St. Louis and Cincinnati about a week ago. And they just got the game started, through about 6 pitches, and then had to stop it. Tony La Russa started a relief pitcher, Miguel Batista. Dusty Baker started Edinson Volquez. And a strikeout for out number 2. And so the media corps, of course, asked Dusty, well, you knew the forecast. Why didn't you start a reliever? So I didn't have to do everything Tony did. And that's out number 2 in the inning.
Maybe Tony sent over bogus weather information to the Reds clubhouse. Maybe had a double agent.
That was kind of what the Reds seemed to be hinting at in some of the quotes after the game.
Teams are going to be hiring their own meteorologist now.
Bill Hall is 1 for 3. An RBI single his first time up. And the Astros got 4 singles in the second. Takes ball 1. 9 hits for Houston today and 5 runs. The Astros offense had been slowed down a little bit on this homestand, but back to a 5-run output. They'd take a lot of that this year. Matt Downs on deck.
And part of the Astros problem this year has been they've wasted games like this. They've wasted a number of games where they've scored 5, 6 runs and haven't pitched well enough to hold the opposition down. Today, with the outstanding effort from Bud Norris, plenty of pitching. You know, some guys when they pitch, they talk about taking a little off, adding a little on, moving the ball around. Zach Braddock, I think his philosophy is I'm going to grab it and throw it as hard as humanly possible. You get no sense that he's really all that focused on where it's going. Or trying to make it move. Just airing it out.
2-1.
I'm going to pitch an inning at a time. I'll give you everything I got.
Mitch Stetter is another lefty in the bullpen. That's high for ball 3 to Bill Hall. With Milwaukee hoping to make a serious run toward winning a division, just something like that, the composition and effectiveness of the bullpen will go a long way toward determining what the Brewers do, even with this excellent starting rotation. They've already played 10 one-run ball games this year out of 26. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cubs and Arizona are tied 1-1. They're in the last of the second out west. Ryan Roberts hit home run number 6. He's getting a chance to play third with an injury to Melvin Mora, and Jeff Blum has been out with knee surgery. Runner will go. 3-2, 2 outs. And a strikeout for Hall. Ends the Astros 8th inning. Braddock threw it hard, and he struck out the side. We go to the 9th. It's 5-0 Houston. by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. On this Sunday, as the Astros say farewell to Minute Maid Park for the homestand, they lead it 5-0. They can get away with a 3-3 record on this homestand and get a series win against Milwaukee. If they nail it down, it's a 5-run lead as they go to the 9th inning, and they call on the young lefty Fernando Abad.
The lefty Prince Fielder due to hit. Abad gets a call out of the bullpen for the 15th time this year. He's 1-2, 6.30 ERA. Lion's share of that his last outing. He allowed 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning in that finale of the series with the Cardinals. That's what happens to a relief pitcher early in the year when you get thumped like that. You have one real ugly one. His ERA prior to that outing was 2.89. 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 4 runs. Came in, gave up that home run to the Puma.
Yeah, he had a 4-2 lead in the 6th inning. Puma hit a 3-run shot off him, and he was tagged with the loss. 1 ball, 1 strike. A chance for him to get things headed back in the other direction here today with some working room, with McGee and Kotsay to follow Fielder. Fielder up the right field line, hits it foul. 1-2, a good play down that right field line.
And there's some fans that are making some plays today.
Yeah,
it's a good group. Well skilled.
The fielding percentage of the fans at Minute Maid Park has gone way up today.
Their zone rating is really good.
They're positioned well too. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They must have been watching their videotapes to get ready for this game.
Breaking it down. Right, Abad's coming in. He likes to throw that changeup. Fielder's likely to pull him. We're going to move 2 seats to the right.
Fastball foul away. 93-mile-per-hour fastball from Abad. John Axford's warming up for the Brewers. They move on into Atlanta next, and he has not pitched this weekend. Fielder pops it up. It will be out of play. Lefty hitters are hitting .273 against Abad this year. And the Astros will have to make room for Wilton Lopez pretty soon. He could be back as early as tomorrow night. Fielder takes a look at it. It's ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Wilton Lopez, a guy you'll gladly make room for.
Yes.
Very valuable piece of that bullpen puzzle.
He threw a simulated game yesterday to a couple of Astros hitters to show everybody that he's ready to go. And he will not require any minor league rehab time. There's McGee. On the other hand, Brad Mills was telling the media today before the game, Jason Michaels will get some rehab time when he comes back from his left shoulder injury. And Jason, of course, has not had a lot of at-bats this year anyway, so he would benefit, and he wants to go out and get some playing time before he returns to the big league roster, whenever that is.
Just 18 ABs for Jason so far this year.
Bill Hall underneath, and behind second, he takes care of out number 1. Bud Norris went 7 2/3 innings today, allowing 3 hits, 2 singles and a pop fly double. No runs, walking 3, fanning 11. Jeff Fulcino retiring the only man he faced, Ryan Braun. Now Abad will be lifted. Mark Melanson's been getting loose, and with a 5-0 lead, it was lefty on lefty. He got Fielder. Now he's coming out. Melanson coming in. 5-0 Houston. Outs in 7 2/3 innings for Bud Norris. He allowed just 3 hits. And that is an outstanding pitching line with 116 pitches, 77 strikes.
Yeah, came right out of the gate, struck out 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and really taking control of this Brewers lineup. And when you think about the 3 hits, a couple of bloopers and then a sharp comebacker off of his body. And they were almost able to make a play on Fielder. That close to taking a no-hitter into the late innings.
Yeah. Bud, the winner in the Astros' other shutout win, 1-0 here over San Diego, April 14th. Now Mark Melanson. And there's ball 1 to Casey McGee, who's 0 for 3. Melanson ties Jeff Fulcino now with that 16th appearance atop the Major League leaderboard. He's 2-1 with a 1.98 ERA. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's what Brad Mills is trying to do. He's trying to use these guys but not abuse them. I mean, 5-0 lead, he could easily have left a Bott in to finish the game, but he wants to keep him fresh for tomorrow.
Melanson ranges far to his right. Little bobble, low throw. How about the play by Wallace? Spectacular glove work by Wallace.
And Brett's reaction is, hey, that's what I do. Nothing to it. Pretty good play all the way around once Mark gets the handle on it. Shows good athleticism, tracking it over, barehanding bobble and then recovering, and then the good pick. Great concentration. It's kind of a play. It's a little bit scary when you see a pitcher make a play like that. His back foot's starting to slip on him a little bit, and that's where you worry about undue strain on the arm. Back ankle rolls over a little bit, and that's putting a lot of pressure on that hose, but good play.
Very good. Now it's Mark Kotsay. Kotsay's 1 for 3.
We had that conversation with Jeff last night about hitters going down the line when they sniff a hit. And the same thing for a pitcher when he's trying to make a play in the infield. They sniff that out. They'll do whatever they can do to get it.
It's a 1 ball, 1 strike count. Could be a combined 3-hit shutout. Norris, Fulcino, Abad, Melanson working today. It's 1-2 to Kotsay. This Milwaukee club has not been shut out this season. The game on the 14th of April against San Diego, the 1-0 win for Norris, was also a 3-hitter with 3 relievers collaborating. 2-2.
Yeah, this is the part the starting pitchers in today's game miss out on. It's fun to be out there at the end of the game, and there's so few complete games anymore. And get the opportunity to finish them off. Unless you're Roy Halladay, he does it about every other start.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Melanson worked 1 inning Friday through 17 pitches. Right there to finish it. Well pitched game, and the Astros with 12 strikeouts collaborate on a 3-hitter. Norris goes to 2-1. Melanson gets the final 2 outs in this one. Very well pitched game with a lot of sliders from Bud and then some heat at the end, JD.
Yeah, very impressive show, and for the second time this year the Astros have a 2-game winning streak.
5-0.